The Witcher has become a flagship franchise in all of gaming. I don't think there's any debate about it. CD Projekt Red have created something really special with the Witcher franchise, and I think a lot of us are wondering where's the series going to go from here, especially with the recent success of the Witcher Netflix series and of course The Witcher 3. And so that being said, I want to talk to, in this segment of the show, guys, about The Witcher 4 and everything that we want in the, to come out of this game. And when I say we, I'm talking about myself here. I'll be the only one giving the opinion, but I know some of you are going to share similar opinions as myself. And for those of you who don't, let me know in the comment section below everything that you want to see in The Witcher 4. So let's get into it. So guys, The Witcher, I think, like I said, it's really become a flagship, game and series within all of gaming. And I think CD Projekt Red, they are trying to kind of up their, just their prestige as a company by going ahead and doing Cyberpunk 2077 and, coming off of course, The Witcher 3 and, then of course the successes of the Witcher Netflix series. I think that there's a lot of question marks whether or not The Witcher is going to come back. I think it definitely should, especially with the recent success of the Witcher Netflix series. But with Cyberpunk 2077, that's the next game, of course, by CD Projekt Red. They haven't announced or, given us the indication that The Witcher 4 is definitely going to happen, but they definitely said that they have not forgotten about The Witcher. And so with that, I think one of the big things that I want, guys, and I want somewhat of a new story. I think that with The Witcher 3, I enjoyed where the story went and such, but Geralt, I think, him and his, his story arc and all of those things, I believe personally that, I think it's time to kind of, for him to pass the torch onto another character, right? And I think in The Witcher 4, Geralt maybe is a side character, but he's not like the main character. He's not the playable character. I think it's time to see, us move in the direction where he's kind of passing the torch onto another character, and that next character kind of progresses the series forward. Think about it like this. We've had 3 Witcher games, so it's kind of like, Geralt's, trilogy, and then now we can move onwards. Not that he's going anywhere. Maybe he is, maybe he's not, but I do think that it's time to start getting some new characters into the fray in The Witcher 4. So that'd be kind of like the first thing for me, guys. Obviously, I'd love to have some new landscapes, some new environments. Obviously, I want it to stay very similar to the core mechanics and gameplay of The Witcher, because that's what's made it so special. But I'd like to see them go, CD Projekt Red that is, go in a direction where we have some new environments, some new places that we can explore and really dive into more of the lore and story of The Witcher, right? And so I would love to see new environments. That would be kind of number 2 for me, new environments and new areas to explore, obviously. At number 3, guys, for me, I think that would be really great to have a number of multiple, playable characters, not just one playable character, but multiple. And that would bring into effect like the possibility of co-op and having co-op and being able to play with your friends in the, in a single player story or just a campaign in general that could be, turned into a co-op campaign. Because up to this point, guys, we've had these stories that are incredible stories, but, they're single-player campaigns. And then you've got, on top of that, you, of course, have DLC that comes out, which is great. More ways you can connect with it, that being the franchise. But I think the issue is, for me, is having co-op gives you more reason to come back to the story, to play with your friends and such, and do different things within that world. That brings me into number 4, which is multiplayer. And look, this is going to be kind of controversial. I mean, I've always been a believer that any game out there could also have multiplayer modes on top of having a single player story. I think of God of War. I think of a number of different games, guys, that sure, they're great stories, but at the end of the day, they could also be primed to be a multiplayer experience, and it could continue building upon the lore and the story that, of what they kind of started. These companies have started here. And look, with Cyberpunk 2077, they're going to be obviously launching, Cyberpunk 2077 with, simply a story, a campaign. But later on, they're going to be adding multiplayer. And I think that's a really smart decision. And I think they should do the same exact thing with The Witcher 4. You bring out that story, then you start adding other things like multiplayer, co-op modes. And I think that just really helps build upon the legacy and the lore and the fan base of The Witcher. Next, guys, another big thing that would probably be also somewhat controversial because, you know, there'd be a lot of question marks here, but making The Witcher 4 free to play, I think would be very interesting. Look, the franchise has grown in a drastic way, right? It's very large at this point, but I really think, especially with multiplayer modes and co-op modes, there would be those opportunities to potentially make this game free to play, or at least the multiplayer aspects free to play. But it would be very interesting to see how well The Witcher 4 would do based on a free to play model that has like customization, and especially with multiple different playable characters and things of that nature, you could have a lot of customization and, you know, monetization tactics, which obviously we don't like monetization, but at the end of the day, guys, when you look at, you know, microtransactions as a whole, the microtransactions and the tactics that come in there, a lot of times we don't like it, but we accept it if it's a free-to-play game. And so I think that would be something that we would support the developers. Obviously, if they were to make a project as big as The Witcher 4, I think that obviously we would support that in a major way. Now, is it realistic? Probably not. They're probably going to want to get the $60, you know, per copy for The Witcher 4. They're not going to want to take that unnecessary risk, but I would love to see a free-to-play Witcher 4 game with, of course, having the added multiplayer and co-op modes. So all in all, guys, those are the main things that I'm kind of looking for. Look, I'm looking at, you know, I feel like there's so much more in this universe, in this world to explore. And so I want like differences. I want kind of some change. Obviously, I don't want them to go, you know, totally, you know, like across the left field kind of thing. I want them to, you know, keep it like, you know, the mechanics, the gameplay, the same as The Witcher, the past 3 entries. But I think having some differences that is showing us that they're moving in, they're continuing the legacy, but they're kind of moving in a different direction, whether that's with new characters, having a multiplayer co-op modes, and things of that nature, I think are just going to be really important moving forward. But let me know, guys, in the comment section below, what do you guys want to get out of The Witcher 4, and what are all the things that you guys want to see in The Witcher 4? Let me know in the comment section below, and for more The Witcher 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.